Ole Miss is next up on my 2024 SEC football record predictions. And first glance at this, they have a pretty favorable schedule. I would say so far, this is probably the easiest schedule I have seen out of all the SEC teams so far. And, I have done quite a few reactions already. I've done Alabama, Arkansas, Auburn, Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, LSU, and Mississippi State. So, those are on my channel if you want to go check those out. Um, man, I am honestly shocked that an SEC team has this easy of a schedule in 2024, man, with the additions of Oklahoma and Texas. So, Ole Miss, they had probably the best offseason, or one of the best off seasons, along with Ohio State. Um, they keep Jackson Dart. They add a lot of pieces defensively. The offense is still going to be really good. The wide receiver play is going to be really good. I think they lose Quinton Judkins, but they get Logan Diggs from LSU. My Tigers, man. He's a really physical running back, really quick as well. So I heard he was injured, I think. So if he can be healthy by the time the season starts, he was banged up a little bit during the season last year for LSU. So if he can stay healthy, he can have a really good season. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of hype around this team. People calling them a for sure playoff team. I think they will be in the playoff. I don't know about for sure because like the big thing I keep saying is like they had a great off season. Yes, they brought in a lot of transfers. A lot of big names. But it's one thing to bring all those guys in, and then another thing to have them pan out and play. Have the whole team play as one. It might take a little bit of time for that to happen. How long is that going to take for the whole team to gel? I don't know. It might be right here, like Wake Forest. I don't think it's going to be right away. There's going to be some chemistry issues. I think it's just going to be about getting in game time together. So, it helps them that they have a very easy start to the season. They got Furman. I'm just going to go ahead and give them a win. I'm going to give them a win against Mid Tennessee. Not going to waste time on any of them. At Wake Forest, a 6:30 Eastern time game. Could be a bit tricky, but I don't think Wake Forest is really going to give Ole Miss that much of an issue. Obviously, more of a challenge than the first two, and even Georgia Southern. That's an easy 4-0, I think, for Ole Miss going into this Kentucky game, in which they're going to be hosting Kentucky at noon on their homecoming. I do have Ole Miss winning this one. I had them winning in my Kentucky prediction, so got to keep that consistent. And then you go at South Carolina. If that's a night game, that could be a little tricky. That's one of the games that I'm scared, kind of nervous for when it comes to LSU, and we're gonna be there. I think at 3:30. I'm pretty sure. I don't think it's not gonna be a night game. I don't think, but Williams-Brice is a underrated place to play. I think it could cause some issues, but I think they do go ahead and get it done. And now look, at LSU, I do have Ole Miss winning this game, so that means they'll be starting off 7-0. However, I believe LSU has a bye week before Ole Miss. Now, I did not know that Ole Miss had 7 straight games without a bye week. Now, it's not a incredibly taxing start to the season. Kentucky, could be a bit tough. At Carolina, at LSU is a tough way to end that 7-game stretch right there. I think this actually favors LSU. If I knew Ole Miss had 7 games without a break going into this LSU game, I would have picked LSU to win this game. Because, I'm really back and forth. A night game at Tiger Stadium, Death Valley, for what would be an undefeated Ole Miss and what will be an undefeated LSU. I think that I have up to this point in the season. Yeah, I think this actually favors LSU pretty heavily. Um, man, now I'm kind of second guessing myself. I do think that LSU would win this game. I still think it'd be very close, but I do think that LSU would get this done. If Ole Miss had a bye week after Carolina and then played LSU, yeah, I would probably stick with my Ole Miss to get the win projection. But yeah, I think this would favor LSU. Then they get a bye week finally before going and hosting actually Oklahoma. That'll be a noon or a 1 p.m. Eastern time game. At this point, Jackson Arnold's gonna have a lot of experience under his belt. Oklahoma's gonna have a pretty solid defense. I don't know what Oklahoma's schedule is looking like so far. And it's always tough to do these games, just like the LSU game. Like, it's tough not knowing the other team's schedule. At Ole Miss, I think Ole Miss is gonna get the job done. I think they go to Arkansas. I think this could be a bit of a trap game. Maybe a slip up or something. I think it could be very close. But I'll have Ole Miss getting the win there, man. So back-to-back early games for Ole Miss, and then they host Georgia in what probably would be a night game at Vaught Hemingway. Now, I did Georgia's schedule already, and I have Georgia getting the win. So, I think I like that. I think Georgia will end up getting a really close win. I just find it hard to go against Georgia, dude. I find it really hard to go against Georgia. It's just better to not. It's better to not bet against them, man. I do think this will be a really competitive game, and I do look forward to that one already. I think Ole Miss will go into this game with 1 or 0 losses, to be honest with you, and I think Georgia might have 1 or 2, based on what I have them going. Yeah, I do. I'm pretty confident in Georgia getting that win. Then Ole Miss gets a bye week before they go to Gainesville. Now, don't hate me, but I do have Ole Miss losing. I think after Georgia, after Georgia, Ole Miss gets the bye week. They're gonna have 2 weeks without loss. That with their first loss of the season. Just weighing on their minds. They're going to be hungry to get back out there, and I think that, honestly, gives the advantage to Ole Miss. Florida, though, I think is going to be a really good team. Not really good. I think they're going to be a solid team. I think they're going to be better than what people think they're going to be. I think people write them off because they're number 1 strength of schedule, which, not completely wrong. If things are not going that, Florida's way at all, they could very easily be like a 3-9, 4-8 team. And it really, the off the field stuff with Jaden Rashada and Billy Napier, how much of a impact is that gonna have on Florida's season in football, man? Like, is that gonna be a massive distraction in the locker room? Is it gonna be a massive distraction for Billy Napier? Who knows? But I think Florida is a team that can be, they can pull off some big upsets like this one right here. And this would be big. This would be big for Ole Miss coming out to the end of the season. Because then you have the Egg Bowl against Mississippi State, and Ole Miss may or may not be fighting for their playoff lives at this point in time. Coming off 2 straight losses. But I do have Ole Miss getting a very, very close win. I remember I said in my Mississippi State video that it's going to be like a 33-31 win for Ole Miss, and Ole Miss is going to kick the game-winning field goal because I was about to pick Mississippi State to get the upset, to shock the world, and end their rivals' playoff hopes. But I do have Ole Miss hanging on, and what should, I have three 10-2 teams so far in the SEC, and I think that's actually going to be pretty accurate. There's going to be a lot of teams who are going to be 3-2 and make that four now. I have four 10-2 teams in the SEC, man. It's going to be such a wild freaking season. But yeah, I have a red hot start. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-0 start for Ole Miss. Drop 2, but they saved their season. They saved their playoff hopes with a win against Mississippi State, man. So, ceiling for this team, 12-0. I would say ceiling is 12-0. I think LSU and Georgia are going to be their toughest games. They go on the road to LSU, they get Georgia at home. I think they're more likely to beat LSU, just being honest. I think they're more likely to beat LSU. But if they can survive those two games and beat Florida, which is again very doable, it'd take a massive upset for Florida to do that. I think 12-0 is the ceiling for this team. What do I think the floor is? 9-3. I think the floor is 9-3. I would say 8-4, but nah, I'll go 9-3 floor. So a very high floor, and 9-3 maybe might slip Ole Miss into the playoff if they're 9-3, and like they have a win against Georgia and LSU, and they lose to like Kentucky or something, and a couple early losses. I don't know. It could happen. I don't know if their schedule is strong enough for a 9-3 team to get in, but never know, I guess. But I think 10-2, they're sitting pretty good. And yeah, hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, please drop a like, hit the subscribe button. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below on Ole Miss's season. How do you think this looks? Do you agree with it? What do you disagree with? And yeah, man. I think we got Missouri up next in my predictions, so look forward to that one, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.